Okay, Phyllis here. We're getting ready to make banana pudding, and this would be very similar to the original recipe for banana pudding that was on the Nilla wafer box. First, we're going to start out with 1/2 cup sugar in a saucepan, 1/4 cup of flour. Now I'm going to mix the flour and the sugar in order that the flour doesn't cause lumps. So if you just mix that up really good, you will be pretty well void of lumps in your pudding, because the sugar helps break the flour up. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and add a dash of salt and 2 cups of whole milk. Now the original recipe called for making this in a double boiler. Now I don't have a double boiler, so I'm going to just do it on the stove. And this means I'll have to stir it constantly. I'm going to start it out on medium-low heat and just stir it, and you want to cook it until it gets hot and bubbly and has slightly thickened. And then I'm going to show you how to add the egg yolks. So we'll be back in just a minute. Okay, my sauce is just before boiling, and so now I'm going to temper my egg yolks. This is 3 egg yolks, which I've beaten. I'm going to take a spoon of my sauce, put it in the egg yolks, just mix it up a little bit. And take that off the burner because I don't want it to really boil. Take another spoonful, beat it in. About 3 spoonfuls ought to do it. Just beating them in. So this will warm up these egg yolks. Maybe we'll do 1 more spoonful. Okay, now I'm ready to add my yolks to the mixture. And I'm going to do that by using a whisk, a little small whisk, and just gradually add my yolks. Just beating it up really good as you're adding them. And the reason you do that is because you don't want it to end up being like scrambled eggs in there. So you just add it slowly after you've tempered the eggs. That'll give you a smooth pudding. Now I'm going to continue cooking this for about 2 minutes and let it just almost come to a boil, and we'll be right back. Okay, my pudding is right at the boiling point. You can see how thick it is. The egg yolks are fully cooked. Now I'm going to add a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract, and 2 tablespoons of butter. And again, taking that off the burner and just mix that up. See, you want a slightly runny pudding, because remember you're going to have the Nilla wafers in there and the bananas, and so you want it a little bit runny. Otherwise it would be too thick when all these ingredients are combined. Okay, so there's the pudding, and we're going to set that aside now. And the next thing we're going to do is beat our egg whites. So I'll be back in just a minute. Alright, I have beaten the egg whites to the soft peak stage. Now I'm going to add the sugar, and I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar. I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. Okay, the meringue is ready now, and one of the things to remember when you're making meringue is try to not use a plastic bowl, because usually plastic bowls have some residue, grease or oil in them, no matter how clean you think they are. So if you're making meringue and you can't get your egg whites to peak up, you've probably got some grease or oil of some kind that was in the plastic bowl. So it's always better to use a glass bowl, or in my case I used a 4-cup measuring cup that's glass. Also make sure your beaters are totally clean, and that should solve the problem. Now also, one other thing that sometimes happens is if a little bit of the egg yolk gets in the whites, like one of them breaks, then it's got a lot of fat in the yolk, so that's another thing that'll cause them not to beat up into peaks. Alright, now we're ready to assemble our banana pudding. And the first thing we're going to do is line our casserole dish with vanilla wafers. And I'll just dump them out. It's a little too many, and just, line the bottom as best you can. And then we're going to be ready to slice up the bananas. Now I don't put the wafers up the side until I've gotten the bananas in there. That'll kind of help hold it. So we're going to start, you want to start out with fairly ripe bananas. These might be a little green, but I like them that way. So I'm going to peel this banana and just slice them up. And you want to use 3 of the 6 bananas for the layer after the vanilla wafers on the bottom. So I'm going to continue doing this and I'll be right back. Okay, we're ready to complete the assembly of the banana pudding. So we've sliced 3 of the bananas and placed them over the vanilla wafers. Now I'm going to add half of the pudding that we cooked earlier. Just spread that out. Okay, now I'm going to add a few more vanilla wafers. Put a few on the side. Not many, but just a few. I'm going to add just a few on top of the pudding. Alright, now we're ready for the rest of the bananas. Now I went ahead and peeled the bananas, and so I'm just going to slice them right on top of this next layer. Again, this will be 3 bananas. So 3 on the bottom layer and 3 on the top layer. Just kind of spread those out evenly. Oh, there's a bad place. Okay, spread those out. And we're now ready for the rest of the pudding. Just Try to get those evenly spread out if you can. So now we're ready for the rest of the pudding. Now when I was growing up, when my mother made this, she would let us, she called it lick the pot, and she'd always leave, you know, a little extra in there instead of scraping the pot really clean. And so me and my sister would get to have a couple of spoons and we would eat the pudding. And I actually, back then, liked the pudding better than the banana pudding. So anyway, spread it all out. And now we're ready for the meringue. Alright, for the meringue, we're going to really just go ahead and dump it all out at one time, right on top of this pudding. And just fix it so it's touching the sides, so that way it won't shrink all up. You can make little dollops on top of it if you want to. And we're going to bake this in the oven, and I usually do it at about 400 degrees for about 10 minutes. And this really will cook the meringue, and it will turn a little brown on the peaks on top. So just spread it out even if you can. So I'm going to make some little peaks on the top, make it more interesting. Alright, we're going to put this in the oven and cook this meringue, and we'll be right back in about 10 minutes. Okay, here's the banana pudding, and the meringue has completed cooking in the oven about 10 minutes at about 400 degrees. Now I want to give you the recipe for this. Alright, here's the recipe for the banana pudding. For the pudding part, 1/2 cup sugar, 1/3 cup plain flour, dash of salt, 3 egg yolks. I didn't write yolks down there, but it should be 3 egg yolks separated. 2 cups of whole milk, 1 teaspoon vanilla extract, 2 tablespoons of butter, and 1/2 box Nilla wafers, and you'll also need 6 ripe bananas. And there are the instructions. And then here is about the layering, and then you're going to top it with meringue. And that meringue is going to be 3 egg whites beaten to soft peaks. Add 1/4 cup sugar, 1/4 teaspoon of cream of tartar, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla. And just bake that in the oven 15 to 20 minutes at about 400 degrees, and just cool and serve, and always put the remainder that's left in the refrigerator. Okay, and again, that's 3 egg yolks up there for the pudding part of the banana pudding. All right, see you next time.